I had been a runner, and I would run 3 to 5 miles a day. And I noticed every time I would run over a course of a month or so, I would feel tired. And each day I would say, my biorhythms are low. You know, it's just a bad day. And so I would, try the next day and it would be the same thing. I felt better when I would have a couple glasses of wine at night. And so I would have 2 glasses of wine and I'd think, well, I feel fine now. And then one day I was driving with my parents. I was campaigning for a county attorney and I had to pull off the road because I felt something wrong with my heart. And my mom's like, you got to get this checked out. And I'm like, well, let's go to Walgreens. My blood pressure's fine. Let's just keep going and we'll do some door knocking. Suddenly, I noticed the 2 glasses of wine I was having just didn't make me feel better anymore. And then I realized there was something wrong. I called my doctor to go in. And just by the luck of the draw, they had a cardiologist there with a echo machine, which is, they only have there once every few months. They had an echo machine there, and they happened to have one the day I went in. And I remember watching the face of the guy doing the echo. He wasn't very happy. And so I'm figuring, well, this probably isn't going to be good because he can't tell me what it is because there's confidentiality rules, but he sure didn't look happy. And the doctor, when I met with him immediately after the test, said, we're going to get you in tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. So I knew that wasn't a good sign, and the doctor didn't tell me what it was, but I knew it wasn't good. And so it happened to be Wednesday, and my friends always went dancing on Wednesday night. This may be the last night I can go, because chances are the next day the doctor's going to say I can't do this. So I went dancing, had a wonderful time, and sure enough, the doctor the next day said, I'm sorry, you're a very sick man. You can't run for office. You've got to drop out. You have what's called severe cardiomyopathy, and we've got some work to do. It's a heart disease. It causes an enlarged heart somewhere along the way, and they don't know how it happened. My heart muscle was weakened by a virus, maybe by genetics. And so the heart muscle gets larger, and as it gets larger, it gets weaker. So the heart becomes less efficient, works harder. Yeah, I was scared. I remember I called my parents crying because I was really sick. And it became where I didn't know if I would live through the night. I mean, it's pretty frightening. I had never had any long-term type illness. So when I met with my cardiologist, I said, well, how long do you think I'll live? And I still remember to this day, he said, well, you could die today or you could live till you're 80. You're just a lot more aware of it. And so it stuck with me because anyone can die at any time. But when you have cardiomyopathy or any illness that can cause sudden death, you're aware that every moment is so precious, and you're not guaranteed the next moment. It took a long time to come to that acceptance, but in the end, that's where I got.
Jim was one of the first people I met with, and he told me right in the beginning he had a looming fear of sudden cardiac death, that the idea of legacy was not appealing to him to have a statue built. It was about the impact he made in people's lives. Other members of my team have been involved in my work with Jim as well, and they've consistently brought really personalized value, I think. One of our nurses, for example, he's pretty open about his heart conditions that he himself has, his family history of it. And that he's sharing that with Jim has seemed to be a great resource as well, and just that learning, not only clinically, but experientially, how to manage that. And so I think about Jim, and he's got very strong values, and he's got a perception of a lot of life to live still. And so he's navigating his healthcare choices with a balance of, I want to take care of myself, but I also want to live my life very fully.
Jason is wonderful because if I have a concern about my medications, for example, if I'm feeling a side effect, Jason will check that out, call a nurse, get information for me, find alternative drugs that I can take instead. Family issues are a concern because they're, of course, worried. And my family, my parents especially, worry about me dying, and they're worried about me doing things, and they think if I drive down to see them, it'll be too much for me and I could die. So they say, take it easy, but they worry a lot. And so having a care team member is kind of a buffer, a conduit, a connection that we all can have. I wanted to start volunteering or maybe go back to school to find something that I could do to still give back to the community, even though I have a severe heart problem. Jason set me up with a guy named Jamie who works here at Abbott, and he has a similar problem as mine, but he's actually working and going to school to get a higher degree. So I talked to Jamie, and he gave me good information on how I can do things in my life, even despite the fact I have cardiomyopathy. So It's whenever a need comes up or something I think about, or how can I do this, or what would make my life better, or how can I make things easier for my family? How can they understand what I have so they don't overreact when something happens, or when I plan a canoe trip, or when I want to go to Washington, D.C. You know, Jason is there to say, here's what we can do.